Welcome to Scandalwater,
where we cover the stories that have captivated the entertainment world.
I'm Candy, a longtime educator and community theater actress.
And I'm Ashley, a writer and co-founder of a local theater group.
We're two friends who share a love of entertainment.
From true crime docuseries to blockbuster movies to classic TV to Broadway shows and everything in between.
Each week, I share a compelling story related to pop culture.
And I chime in using my trivia junkie brain.
We stick to the facts until it's time to settle into our armchairs at the end.
Then we're simply two women with a strong cup of tea and even stronger opinions.
We're Scandalwater.
And if this sounds like your cup of tea,
follow the show on your favorite podcast app or the Scandalwater Podcast YouTube channel.
Oh, it's that time of day. Tune in and hear what the ladies say. It's time to bend your ear when the silver screen appears. Stories about the stage and screen and everything in between. So come on and join the fun. The curtain opens in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Ashley.
hello.
We are entering a new month, and it's a month that honors our fathers.
Yeah.
You guys, Father's Day is June 21st this year. And you know what? With that in mind, I thought I would start this episode with a little quiz, Ashley, to see how much you know about this national holiday.
Oh,
you ready?
Let me have it.
All right. Number 1. There are only 4 questions. by
Oh,
the way.
good. Okay.
Which president signed a law making Father's Day a federal holiday?
I'm going to say Teddy Roosevelt.
President Richard Nixon in 1972.
Nixon. Okay. I was like, Teddy Roosevelt wanted to be a good dad. Maybe he's like, come on, Alice, you got to honor me. You got to honor me.
How many years had Mother's Day been a national holiday before Father's Day became one in 1972?
I'm going to say 0 because they probably honored the dads before the moms.
Nope.
What?
58
Really?
years. Mother's Day became a national holiday in 1914 thanks to Woodrow Wilson.
Well, good for you, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, they advocated. People were informally celebrating it long before then, but it became a national
you know
holiday in
what?
1972.
I read something about this where it actually wasn't originally Mother's Day. It was like mothers who had lost someone or something. I read something about that recently.
Both of them have a long history.
I should have done better on that. So far, I am failing your quiz.
I did not expect you to know this because I certainly did
Okay.
not. Yes. Get ready because you definitely won't know this one.
All right, awesome.
What was the name of the woman who was credited with founding Father's Day?
I have no idea.
So this goes back to the point we were just discussing.
Uh-huh.
Her name was Sonora Dodd, and she had actually started campaigning for it back in 1910. But Sonora's father was a Civil War veteran who had been left after his wife died to raise 6 children. And so his daughter pushed again for years before it finally became a national holiday. And again, some people were informally celebrating
That's
before
very
then.
sweet.
Last question. Carnations are the official flower for Mother's Day. What is the official flower of Father's Day?
Daisies. I don't know.
It does appear that different flowers are fine, but officially it is the rose. Sonora Dodd suggested red roses be worn to honor fathers who are still alive.
Aw.
Red being a symbol for the love you feel for them, with white roses being worn to honor fathers who have passed away.
Aw.
Yeah.
Sonora's a great girl. Let's put her on the list. Our ever-growing list.
So the reason we started with that, Ashley and I thought, you know what? We have not yet had a theme centered around our dads. And we also thought summer months, you know, something a little lighter, something that moves a little faster. We decided we were going to make our June all about the dads. What we're going to do is highlight 3 different top dads in different categories.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Today, we're starting with top dads from animated works.
Aw.
So we thought this would be fun. And also, these will probably be a little shorter, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah. So you can go out and do your summer activities.
That's right. That's right. So, top animated dad, we are actually revisiting one that we have discussed before because we even had this discussion,
Yes, we did.
Ashley, because when we decided to do this episode highlighting 3 amazing dads from animated shows, we thought, we've already talked so much about Bandit from the Australian children's show Bluey. Should we go back to that again?
He
And
kept showing up on all the lists,
he
though.
did. So we decided, yes, we're going to do it. So
But you're just focusing on him as a dad, where before it was kind of about the show overall.
Exactly. Which is actually the point I was getting ready to make. Our episode entitled Wackadoo, the Phenomenon of Bluey came out June 11th of 2024. 2024, and it is focused on the show in general. So if you want to know more about Bluey, go back and listen to that episode, because what we're going to focus on right now is pretty much just that parenting aspect. But I think what surprised me when we were doing that episode, do you remember in the armchair segment, we were both a little surprised about the point that kept coming up over and over and over again about how parents were using the characters of Chili and Bandit almost as role models.
Yeah, they were.
Morgan and Michael,
Yes.
our two friends who had done a little clip for us, that was a point they made. So we're going to talk about Bandit, the dad from Bluey.
Is he the number one dad, or are these in any particular
These are
order?
no particular
Okay,
order.
gotcha.
Just three.
Just
three. Yes.
You guys can decide if he's first, second, or third.
That's right. So just as a quick review, Bluey is a highly acclaimed, award-winning TV show targeted toward preschool-age children. Although creator and writer Joe Brum had said from the very start that the program was designed to be something that parents and their children could enjoy watching together.
I think that's such a good idea.
I love it.
Because the parents are going to hear it anyway. If the kid's watching it over and over, you're going to
Right.
have to watch it too.
Right. Why not make it enjoyable for them? It debuted in Australia in 2018, and Disney picked up the international rights in 2019. The show went into hiatus in 2024 after finishing season 3 and putting out more than 150 episodes.
So many.
However, the Bluey movie is scheduled to be released in August of 2027, so I know a lot of fans are excited and waiting for that. To offer a brief summary, Bluey follows the lives of a family of blue heeler dogs living in a Queensland-type setting. The parents are Chili, she's the mom, and Bandit, the dad, and the children are two sisters named Bluey and Bingo, who are 6 and 4 at the start of the show.
I like bingo.
According to Joe Brum, again, he's the fellow who created the show, and also, I don't think I've said this yet, he wrote a vast majority of the episodes. But according to him, the show largely follows the girls' imaginative gameplay and shows the family interactions, with the parents often getting it right, but not always. That's something that Joe pointed out. In fact, Joe gave an interview that I watched. It was in a YouTube clip called Running Free, and here's what he said about how he came up with the idea for the show.
The show sort of formed when my kids were the age of Bluey and Bingo, roughly, and so it was based on just all those games that I would play and that my wife would play, and so it's a very observational show, for sure.
So he said it was a very observational show. So much of his own and his wife's own parenting experiences provide the basis for those episodes. Yeah. A man named Ian Scott wrote an opinion piece for a newspaper back in 2024. His article was entitled, "Bluey is Making Me a Better Husband and Father.
Aww.
Other Men Should Take Note."
Aww.
Yeah. And here's a quote from his piece. A study done by the University of Warwick found that in 1982, 43% of fathers admitted that they had never changed a diaper.
Really?
By the year 2000, that percentage was at 3%. Of all the dads I personally know, I can't even fathom any of them refusing to change a diaper, end quote. The point he was making, he said, as you could continue through the article, was that the old traditional American gender roles generally pegged the mother as the loving, nurturing parent, with the father being the financial provider and the protector. But now our society seems to recognize the benefits of having these fathers who are just as involved as the mothers in nurturing those children and helping to raise them.
That's good.
Yeah. And he shares how much he personally has learned from Bluey. In fact, at the end of that 2024 article, he invited interested fathers to join the Facebook group Bandits, the Bluey group for dads.
That's cute.
Don't you love that? And they're there to talk about parenting.
Aw.
Based on an animated show. I love it. So why is Bandit such a great dad? Here are a few things that stand out about Bandit as you watch different episodes. One big picture observation you can just kind of see across all the episodes is that he is present for his kids.
He's the stay-at-home dad, right?
His wife has the job that seems to be more demanding and makes more money. So he does have some work that he's doing, but he is home with them a lot
often.
through the course of the show. Yes. But you will see him listening to them, talking to them, playing with them a lot. And he's just very, very present. But let's pin that down a little bit more. In terms of playing with them, he encourages imagination. He's willing to be silly. He's willing to be ridiculous. Whatever the game requires, he's right there in the midst of it.
That's so important.
Yeah. One of the other parenting strategies that Bandit uses is trying to teach through natural consequences or personal stories instead of lecturing or telling or scolding. That's something that you see him do when the kids need to learn. He's teaching them instead of telling them.
I like that too.
Yeah. And last point I'll make, he empowers his children by having them come to their own conclusions many times about right or wrong. So like he'll kind of lead them to make that discovery themselves.
He does sound like a great dad.
He really is. So I thought I would end this short little section on Bandit with the same quote from Joe Brum that I used to conclude our first Bluey episode. Joe said, quote, "I think what anyone can relate to with Bandit and Chili is that despite the ups and downs, they really love those kids and they just want what's best for them. And we might all have different ways of doing that, but I think that's what parents are responding to in Bandit and Chili, and that's why the show has been successful. It's funny for the kids. Like, kids love it because it's silly and it reminds them of themselves. Whereas I think it makes parents get emotional because having kids is emotional and it's just a mirror to you. You're not crying because of Bandit's love for his kid. You're crying because of how much you love your kid, and he just reminds you of that."
That's so beautiful.
I know. All right. We're getting ready to move to dad number 2. Before we do that, do you think we should take a quick break?
Let's do it so we can all recover emotionally from Bandit. No one can follow Bandit. There's not much we love more than spilling the tea with you every Tuesday. So, we've decided to occasionally take a moment to thank a few of our supporters who help make this possible.
Along with the fun, producing a weekly podcast also brings with it more time and expense than you might expect. Your financial generosity in becoming a member through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon, both of which can be found on our website or social media accounts, allows us to keep creating these episodes.
We'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to one of our current members, Sherry. As a thank you, Sherry and anyone else who becomes a Scandal Water supporter will receive perks like discounts on merch and access to exclusive bonus content, such as our minisodes.
If you'd like to hear your name on that roster, become a member using one of the links on social media or on our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com.
Until then, we lift our cup to you, Sherry.
Cheers! And we are back. The second dad we are going to discuss, Marlin in Finding Nemo.
I identify a whole lot with Marlin and his anxieties.
So, well, go ahead and tell us about your experience with Finding Nemo.
I saw it when it first came out. I think it's a very sweet movie, but it's hard because when you're, obviously I am not a parent, but I am a cat parent. So when you are in charge of something smaller, you just want to protect them. So you kind of tend toward not wanting them to go out. Like from my experience, so let's just take it purely my experience. I don't want to let them outside because there's danger outside, but they feel free outside.
They love being outside.
And is the danger worth the love they have for freedom? I don't know.
Quality of life.
Yes.
How much does quality of life factor into this?
Exactly that. Yeah. So I understand where Marlin's like, no, stay here. And he's got some pretty severe reasons.
I did not recall that because I saw it, I think I saw it when it came out and haven't seen it since. And by the way, guys, it came out in 2003.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
So I was reminded when doing this research of just what happened. And that backstory is pretty traumatic.
It's terribly traumatic. It's a Disney adjacent film. So of course a parent dies.
In a horrible way.
In a horrible way. For those who do not have not seen her, I guess a little spoiler for you here, but what is it that attacks him? Is it a shark or is it a...
Yeah, the reason Marlin is so overprotective of his son is because he lost his wife and all their eggs
kids.
When Coral is the name of Marlin's wife, when they were attacked by a barracuda that killed Coral when she actually was going to try to protect those eggs. The only egg that survived resulted in Nemo. So many sources say that Marlin's anxiety and his compulsiveness about certain things are basically the result of PTSD.
Absolutely.
I mean, huge trauma.
Yep.
Huge trauma. So I do think it's very understandable why he would have that anxiety.
But Nemo doesn't understand it.
No, he just wants to be happy and live his little life. Yeah. But just to give you a little bit more context, as a review, this was a Pixar movie and it was a blockbuster. Again, it came out in 2003 and grossed almost $1 billion
Good
worldwide during its theatrical release, according to a Today Show article. Here's a brief summary from Rotten Tomatoes. Marlin, a clownfish, is overly cautious with his son Nemo, who has a foreshortened fin. When Nemo swims too close to the surface to prove himself, he is caught by a diver, and horrified Marlin must set out to find him. A blue reef fish named Dory, who suffers from short-term memory loss, joins Marlin and complicates the encounters with sharks, jellyfish, and a host of ocean dangers. Meanwhile, Nemo plots his escape from a dentist's fish tank.
And again, his anxiety is rewarded because immediately as soon as Nemo goes out on his own, he's captured.
Right.
It's like exactly what he said was going to happen happened.
It's fulfilling every fear he ever had.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, to name just a few of the key voice actors, Albert Brooks was the one who
Such a good
voiced
choice.
Marlin. Oh, perfect. Alexander Gould provided the voice of Nemo, and Ellen DeGeneres famously voiced Dory. Yeah. Just as an interesting side note, according to an E! Online News article, William H. Macy originally voiced Marlin.
Oh.
Even though Albert Brooks was director Andrew Stanton's first choice from the beginning, but after an early screening, for whatever reason, they brought Albert Brooks in to replace William H. Macy.
Interesting.
Yeah. But again, this is all about our great dads in animated shows. So what makes Marlin such a great parent? I found some interesting information about that point in interviews given by Andrew Stanton, the man who not only directed Finding Nemo, but also co-wrote it and voiced Crush.
Oh, cute.
I know.
Dude.
And if you've not heard this man's name before, I did not recall having heard it, but he had a
yeah.
big background behind
yeah.
him. He was on the story writing team for the original Toy Story. He helped write and co-write A Bug's Life. This is prior to this, and then he went on after this to do a whole lot more.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot. Well, I found an interview on YouTube that a man named Jackie K. Cooper held with Andrew Stanton in 2008, around the time that WALL-E was coming out, another movie that Andrew Stanton co-wrote and directed. So here's part of Andrew's response when the host asked him what inspired Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I grew up by the ocean, and I had a dentist office I went to that had a fish tank in it.
All of that's in the movie,
and I always thought that would be an interesting place, but I thought, that's not a story. What's it about? And it took for me to walk with my 5-year-old son at the time and not have much time to spend with him. And I spent the whole time going, don't touch that, don't do this, don't do that. And I wasted the whole time, and I realized that's a real problem. You know, you can be a good father and still be in your own way.
So I love that it was his own experience as
Yeah.
a dad that inspired
Doing the
that.
negative stuff.
Yeah, exactly what we were talking about. You know, what is the balance between...
Don't do this, don't do that, and find your own freedom.
I love it. Yeah. Well, Andrew also spoke in a 2012 TED Talk about the art of storytelling. Really good. I listened to the
bet.
whole thing. I loved it. But at one point, he shared an aha moment when he learned from a seminar that all well-drawn characters have a spine. Andrew said, quote, "The idea is that the character has an inner motor, a dominant unconscious goal, an itch they can't scratch. Marlin's itch was to prevent harm."
Yeah.
So he went on to say that these spines drive the characters, but they don't always drive them to make the best choices. But because we all know change is fundamental in a story, he said, quote, "If things go static, stories die because life is never static."
Yeah.
And so as I was listening to him, I thought to myself, that speaks to one of the key things that I think makes Marlin such a great parent. In the beginning, he is already a wonderful dad. He loves his son so passionately. He loves him to the point of wanting to protect him, that, you know, so desperately. But then, despite his own fear and anxiety, he swims across an ocean, faces
Yeah.
all these terrifying challenges in order to try to save his son. But even more than all that, he is willing to grow and change in order to be a better dad.
Yeah.
And to help his son grow and become the person that he wants to be.
He goes through a big change.
He does.
A big arc.
Yeah. One of the moments that helps to open Marlin's eyes is when he sees how Crush treats Squirt and allows him to take some risks and allows him to solve his problems independently. It's kind of a little bit of a role model. And then, and just as a reminder, The big climactic moment is when Dory is caught in the fishing net and Marlin trusts Nemo to save her, even though
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous, very dangerous. So he empowers Nemo by believing in him and also releases some of his own fear and anxiety. And it's so beautiful because at the end, you see them, they're both happier as people, you know, but they're also enjoying a healthier father-son relationship.
Yeah, they're also closer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any last thoughts about dad number 2 before we move on to our final dad?
No, I think the neatest thing about him is that arc that he goes through and that he wasn't a bad dad at all. He was never a bad dad. He was just too much of a good dad, if that makes sense. Like he was too much.
The extremes.
Too much of the extreme in the protecting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, of course, this is no surprise to Ashley. We picked these together. So she knows every choice here. But for you guys who are listening, I hope you like this choice too. Our final pick was Bob Parr of The Incredibles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked Bob a lot. I felt like he was, he's a little bit similar to Marlin in the overprotectiveness camp.
Right.
But he just seemed to be the most, obviously the other two are animals. So he is a human dad.
Yes.
And he seemed to be the most relatable kind of dad.
Right. And I agree
Especially
with you.
with the frustration of everyday tasks.
Yeah.
You know, when the kids are just being nuts and he's just like, oh my gosh, these kids.
Yeah, I liked how not just literally human he was, but how human.
Yes.
Yes. Just as you said, how relatable. And also the fact that like Marlin, he has an arc. He changes. He's willing to change and grow. Yeah. All right, well, let's review. The Incredibles was an incredibly successful Pixar movie that ranked as the 4th highest grossing film of 2004.
Okay.
So it came out just a year after Nemo. It was written and directed by Brad Bird,
I like him too.
who also voiced the character Edna Mode.
Yes, Edna Mode.
In this IMDb summary, it says, in this lauded Pixar animated film, married superheroes Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl are forced to assume mundane lives as Bob and Helen Parr after all superpowered activities have been banned by the government. While Mr. Incredible loves his wife and kids, he longs to return to a life of adventure, and he gets a chance when summoned to an island to battle an out-of-control robot. Soon, Mr. Incredible is in trouble, and it's up to his family to save him. I remember loving this film.
I like this film a lot.
This was so fun. Everything about it was just, we were talking about with Bluey how it's so wonderful when the parents enjoy it too. And not that I didn't love Finding Nemo. I did.
Yeah, sure.
But this was one where from the word go, I was in it as a parent.
Yeah.
You know, I loved it.
There were certain moments that stuck out to me, and I know this is more about him as a dad, but I don't know if we'll do an episode on Incredibles, so I want to say this while I can.
Absolutely.
One of the things I really liked is when Helen told her children, this is not playtime. These people will hurt you and they will kill you, and if you don't listen to me, then something could happen to you. And that's not something you hear in animated movies.
Right.
Where she says, this is reality. Of course, it's not, but it's their reality, and you could get hurt. The other thing that stuck out to me is when they're arguing. I mean, they fight the whole time, but you can tell they love each other.
Yes.
And he's saying to her, like, she says, why didn't you involve us? Why didn't you call? She thinks it's because he likes the other girl, or, you know, she's not sure what's going on. And he says, because I couldn't stand to lose you. That's why.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm not strong enough. That's what it was. He says, I'm not strong enough.
Vulnerability.
And she thinks he means strength, physical strength. He's like, I'm not emotionally strong enough for
Right.
something to happen to you guys. It's beautiful.
It's so emotional. I love it. Well, again, just to kind of follow some of the contextual stuff, a few of the voice actors were Craig T. Nelson, who voiced Mr. Incredible, Bob Parr, Holly Hunter, who voiced Elastigirl, Helen Parr, and Samuel L. Jackson, who was the voice
Frozone.
of Bob Parr's best friend, Lucius, who also was the superhero, as you said, Frozone.
Where is my super suit?
Brad Bird shared in an interview for the NPR show Fresh Air back in 2005 that the idea for the story started with the character Bob Parr. Brad said, we've all known people who are still pretty young, but already seem to have the high point of their lives behind them. It's like they peak too early, and so they keep moving on with their lives, but they miss their glory days. And he said he wondered, well, what if that person, a person missing their glory days, happened to have been a superhero? And then he said he just kept asking more questions. Those what if questions led him to the storyline. He was the fellow who created that. On the How Stuff Works website, they explained that, quote, as Bird began to write The Incredibles, two very different stories came together. A wildly imaginative spy adventure, and B, a drama about the ties that bind us that explored how the greatest superpower of all might simply be the power of a family. Bird began to view the Parrs as being pretty much like the rest of us, facing the daily grind of bosses, traffic, and minor misunderstandings that get blown out of proportion, but just a little more incredible.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I thought this was fun, so I'm going to include this too. The interviewer in that particular example I was just giving was named Terry Gross, and Terry asked Brad how he came up with the family members' superpowers. Here's his response.
I tried to base it on family archetypes. Like the dad is always expected to be strong, so I made him very strong. Moms are always pulled in 1,000 different directions, so I had her kind of, able to stretch. Teenagers are defensive and oftentimes very self-conscious about themselves. So I had her be invisible and have protective shields. 10-year-old boys are energy balls that are bouncing off the wall. So I had him have super speed. And babies are unrealized potential. So, you know what I mean? You could either have great powers or no powers at all.
That is so smart.
I love that. That just added a whole little layer of enjoyment
really
for
did.
me. Yeah. All right. Well, as we've already alluded, at the start of the movie, Mr. Incredible, Bob Parr, as he's known to the world, is a nice guy who loves his family. He's sympathetic to the clients he serves. He's a good guy, but he seems dissatisfied with the quiet life that he's living as a suburban dad. He's desperately missing his glory days as a superhero. Brad Bird said in a different interview that he was drawn to Craig T. Nelson as the actor he wanted to voice Bob because of the actor's, quote, combination of down-to-earth humor and tough guy charisma.
Yeah.
Brad went on to say, quote, Craig has an authoritative voice, but also a wonderful, easygoing kind of humor that really lends itself to who Mr. Incredible is. You can definitely see his voice fitting into this big, strong, hulking body, yet there's also a real vulnerability in him, enough so that you really relate to him simply as a man looking for something he has temporarily lost. And when the scene needed to be intense, he was right there.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson has actually spoken about this role as well, and he said it's actually a really hard job to be the voice for Bob Parr, mainly because he said when they were making this film, Brad and his team had lived with this story and these characters for so long that they were incredibly specific about what they wanted in every scene. And so Craig said he felt the pressure to deliver exactly what they were looking for while also trying to kind of make that character his own. Right. But he also loved getting to play Bob, saying, he is one of those people I'd really like to meet and get a chance to shake his hand because he knows what counts and he has a good sense of himself and his family. So that's one of the points that comes out really well near the end of the movie. Like Marlon, we've already said this, Bob Parr is a character who changes and grows through the course of the story. And here is a scene where Bob reveals what he has come to realize.
I'm sorry. This is my fault. I've been a lousy father. Blind to what I have. So obsessed with being undervalued that I undervalued all of you.
Dad? Shh, don't interrupt.
So caught up in the past that you are my greatest adventure. And I almost missed it. I swear, I'm gonna get us out of this safe.
Well, I think Dad has made some excellent progress today, but I think it's time we wind down now.
I love that. You are my greatest adventure, and I almost missed it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's so good. And as we said, same as with Finding Nemo, by the end of the film, we've got this all the members of this family are in a happier place, but Bob specifically has found a way to enjoy the best of both worlds. He gets the satisfaction of helping others and using his superhero powers for good, while also spending time with his family because now they're all working together.
Now they're working together. To me, it's sort of also represented when, again, not a parent, so just observational, when a person becomes a parent, they have to give up sometimes their own life goals because they want to focus in love on raising their own children. So I kind of saw it that way too. Obviously, the government said he couldn't be a superhero,
right?
But he's lost it because he's now transferred to a father and he still doesn't quite feel fulfilled because he knows what he could do. But I can't because I want to be a good dad. And I think there was a little bit of resentment because he couldn't. And that's kind of what he's talking about
he's feeling
too.
The push and pull.
Yeah, like I love these kids more than anything, but I'm also not able to be what I want to be because of the kids. And I almost missed the fact that you guys are the greatest
adventure.
My greatest adventure.
And he still gets to have his identity, but his goals have shifted.
Yeah.
Now, he's finding
now
his
he
fulfillment.
can have it.
Exactly. I love it.
Armchair psychologist.
Well, for our armchair, I thought we would open the floor if we have any other comments we want to make about these three particular dads we've already discussed. Or I was going to ask, would you throw any other animated dads on the table? You know, did we miss anybody?
Ooh.
One comes to my mind.
Okay, who do you think of?
And I think you and I have even mentioned this character together, but Mufasa.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a big part of the movie, but you get the sense that he
would
was
have been
an
a really good
amazing dad. Yeah. He's in power, he's a leader, but yet he still seems to love his son dearly and speaks to him at the beginning of the movie, tries to kind of, he seems wise. Obviously, he sacrifices himself.
Yeah. That's a good dad, too. I guess my other comment was I really appreciate how animated films, some people think they're just for kids. Cartoons, obviously Bluey is television, these other two are films, how they can really have deep messages.
Absolutely.
I can't speak to the animated stuff today because I haven't watched much of it today, but at least from the ones we're talking about, these are deep, meaningful messages that are being portrayed in a way. It's like what Bluey did. Bluey said, we're going to make it interesting for the kids to watch, but the parents are going to get something out of it too.
Right.
So I think all of our instances can teach parents something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever they choose to take from it.
Absolutely. Well, to bring this to a close, to all our dads out there who might be listening this month, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. And in the words of Dory and Marlin, although we know being a dad isn't easy, we hope you just keep swimming.
Yes.
Cheers to you, dads.
Cheers.
If you love what we do, please rate and review our show or become a supporter through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. Whether a single gift or recurring monthly donation, your support is what allows us to keep the tea brewing.
Subscribe on your favorite podcast app or the Scandal Water Podcast YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Show notes are available at our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com, where you can also access the merch store and more.
This episode was executive produced by Candy Thomas, that's me, and Ashley Raymer Brown.
That's me.
It was researched and written by Candy Thomas and edited by Ashley Raymer Brown.
A special thank you to Josh Martin, who wrote, composed, and performed the Scandal Water theme and other music, Matt C. Adams, who created the artwork, and Joshua Reith, who designed our website and provides ongoing technical support.
As a reminder, this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. The thoughts and opinions of the host during each episode of Scandal Water are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any future guests, advertisers, or clearly professional psychologists. Thanks for listening.